Hello. Just want to do some fun stuff tonight. So I hope you guys are excited. I'm super glad to be back. It's great to see everyone. I had a really fun time. When you guys pop on, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Hey, Beth. So we're going to make like a pop-up slider fun card tonight. I know that sounds like a mouthful, right? Pop-up slider fun card, fold card that I found on someone's YouTube channel. And I thought it would be super cool to do with you guys. So we are going to do that tonight. And because it's a slider and a pop-up, I feel like we need to use the double-sided sticky tape tonight. So I have that out just in case. And we'll also be using our Barely Art Precision Craft glue. So yay for that. We have quite a bit to do tonight. I'm going to explain a little bit about what we're going to do. So we're definitely going to use the Happy Birthday sentiment from this set here. This is one of my favorites because it's got all the holidays that I make cards for. So it's great. Super handy. I'm sure I will be using all the Valentine's, Easter, and all the different stuff on there. We're going to use Enchanting Tale tonight. We're going to use her. We're going to use this sentiment. We're going to use this sentiment. We're going to use this sentiment. We're going to use Happy Birthday. And we're going to use the Places and Pebbles paper pad. We're going to use this paper and this paper. So quite a bit going on tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to do something a little different than I normally do with my coloring tonight. So we have two images here. Same image, but we're going to color them different. So I have this idea in my head. Still in my head, not on paper, just in my head. Make sure you comment when you come on so I can make sure that I can see your comments. But hey, Phyllis. So this one I stamped once and this one I double stamped. So I don't know if you can tell, but one has a thicker border around the edge and that's because I stamped it twice. So this is the one that I'm going to color in black and white. And this is the one that I'm going to color in a color, not just black and white. So we're going to have these two girls, but they're going to be colored completely different. And you'll see why when we get to that part of the card and everything, but we're basically what we're going to do is use all grays for this girl. Let me rephrase. Not just grays, but all, I'm going to go for more of a brown taupe-ish gray. I'm trying to match this paper. So I want her to be in these probably warm gray colors so that it matches this. And I may add just a tad bit of my E41, E42, just to give it that beige color. And then the other one is going to have a lot of color in it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull out first all of the W's. So I'm going to pull out 110 because it is the warm black. And I don't know that we'll use them all, but I'm going to pull out all of them. W10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Are you guys with me? 3, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0. And then I'm going to pull out W, I think I'll pull W43, 42, I mean E42. Oh my gosh, you guys, long day, I guess. E43, 42, and 41 as well. So I'm going to use all of the W's and then potentially these as well. Because I don't want her to look like she's, you know, like dead. I need her to have just a tad bit of color in her skin tone-ish, but no other colors. So we're going to start with her and then we'll go to this one. Okay. So since we're not coloring them exactly the same, I have to color them separately. So we have to get rolling so we can get this done. So I'm going to start off with W00 for her skin. I know this is all very different than what we normally do, but we are going to do it anyway. So I am going to do it down her arms. But I think I'm probably going to make her gloves black. But I want it to be on there just in case I decide to make it more of a see-through type glove. So we're going to add that just in case. Now, people can be black and white. If you take a picture of somebody and you make it a black and white picture, their skin is not colored. So it can really look like a black and white photo, which is kind of what I was going for. So you can't really see a whole lot on there right now because that's the E000 and it's kind of hard to see that. And I think while we're doing the base coat, I think I will do the E000 on this girl because she's going to be colored like a regular girl, but I want to show you
Timothy says hi.
How much it changes. Hey, Timothy. And so I'm just going to put her base coat on for right now. I haven't decided exactly what color she's going to be, but in my mind, I'm thinking red and pink. So I'm thinking hers is going to be more of a red and pink monochromatic, which would go better with the skin tone, where the black and white is just going to be black and white. So that's my plan anyway. So let's roll with it. Now, in order to give this black and white girl a little bit of skin tone, I am going to put this pearl white also on top of her skin because I think it'll give it just a little bit of that other color, that a little bit of warmth for her skin. I am going to do it over her lips as well. And then I'm just going to put it on the top parts of her arms like that. So she's going to look a little funny because it's not anything that we normally do with the black and white, but that is what the plan is. So I'm going to start with 110. We're going to go with darkest colors first. And I'm going to focus on her hair. So I'm just going to like follow the artist's drawn lines on here because I feel like the Memento ink isn't quite black. So I'm going to be coloring in some of those lines just because I want this part to be like really bold. But not all of them, just a little bit of them. So as you can see down the side of her face, I did the whole side of her face just so it'll really stand out because I feel like the black against gray just kind of looks funny. And since this is just going to be a black and white image, I want to make sure that I get enough of the dark black in there to make it stand out from the rest. So that is my plan. This is definitely not something I have tested or thought. I just came up with the idea and decided to try it tonight with you guys. So I apologize ahead of time if it doesn't work out. If it does, woohoo! We figured out something new we can do. So we'll just roll with the flow and see what turns up. You never know. You never know what you'll end up with. But if you don't try it, you'll never know if you can do it either. So that is what we're doing. So I'm going to do a little bit up here in the part of her hair and under the bun, just because I want that to remain pretty dark. And then from the bun, I'm going to do over her little band that's in her hair. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of these brush strokes out so we get a little bit of depth in that little bun on the top of her head. Also, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit on her eyebrows. I mean, this is going to be a black and white picture, so. And I think maybe we'll do a little bit on her lips too, on the edges of it, just so we can start. I always make it work. Not always, but I do try. But sometimes they come out even better than I thought. So that's a plus when that happens. All right, I'm going to skip to W9. So I skipped to W10. And I'm going to go to W9. I do want her hair to remain pretty dark. So I'm going to be using mostly dark colors with this one. And honestly, it's kind of strange, but I feel like the one with color is going to be more challenging for me than the one with black and white, because I just don't know right now what color I want to do her or how I want her to turn out. So don't really have that idea in my mind yet. So not really sure. A little more nervous about that one. But we'll see. You know, we just got to roll with the flow and see how it goes. Thank you. Looking good so far. Thanks. She's looking a little bit, she's making me think a little bit of Elvira. Do you guys remember Elvira from the vampire lady from Halloween? That's what she makes me think of a little bit. She kind of makes me think of Elvira. All right. This is still too dark for me to go into her skin tones, but it's not too dark for me to work a little bit on her dress. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going. Even though we used it on her hair, I'm going to put a bit in her dress as well. So a little bit on those puffy sleeves. And then I'm going to put a little bit on this ribbon. And then this side. And then the part that comes around her backside. Same thing on this one. I hope you guys had a great weekend. The retreat I went to was a lot of fun. And I got lots of positive feedback, so that's exciting. All right. That's all I want to be in that darkest color for now. And I'm going to put this W10 aside because I didn't use it, so I don't want to put it in on the YouTube video because I don't want to put stuff that I didn't use. So now we're going to try W8. And we're just going to be leaving a teeny bit left for the last color. Wow, you're making a lot of noise over there. Mm-hmm. You should be coloring with me, honey. Did you guys hear this silence? The chirping, the crickets when I said that? So we're only leaving a very small space for highlight color. Because I want this hair to remain pretty dark. So just going to leave some small spaces open. So it's starting to build in her hair. I normally like to put a little bit of a bee color underneath my hair when I'm doing black hair on a girl. but because I'm trying to keep this as a black and white monochromatic image, I don't really want to do that this time. So I'm going to add just a little bit to these little areas on her dress, just to keep that color kind of soft and blend well. And then I'm going to switch again to another color. So let's try using, I'm going to go ahead and do W6 real quick. I'm going to skip 7 just for the hair, but then I'm going to go back to 7 for finishing down here in her dress. So I'm just going to touch these very light white parts and just color them in, just so it doesn't look like I didn't finish it. I have a hard time leaving things white. It probably would have looked nice with the white accent, but I just can't do it. If you like that, you should do it on your image. It'll keep your image specific to your type of coloring. But I just can't leave the white. I don't know why. I just don't like to do it. So I just don't. You can still see definition in her hair. It's a little bit hard on camera, but you can still see definition in her hair even though it's done. You scratched her eyeball? Oh no, that is going to be hard to watch. Well, don't worry, I'll be uploading it to YouTube, so if you have to come back in and watch later, you can. So we're back to W7. And I'm going to start coloring some other places with W7 as well. But I'm going to finish these ribbon areas. Like that. And then I'm going to start this top part of her dress. I'm going to do the shadow in this W7. All right. I like that. Okay, since we did that part, I'm going to do this part in here with W7 as well. Hey, Mom. There we go. Okay, so we're starting to get some color in there. Some gray color. That was W7. I'm going to go back to W6 now that we used earlier. And I'm going to keep working on... I started thinking this looked darker than it should have been, so I checked to make sure I didn't get my markers mixed up while I was gone. And I didn't. They are correct. So I want this to be pretty light inside her dress there. But I think I'm going to wait and do 5 here and maybe... No, I think I'm going to do 5 down here and then maybe I'll do 3 up here. So we'll see how it goes. We still have to do a little bit on her face, but we're not at the light. We're not down to the light enough colors for her face and stuff yet. So what we're really going to do is build like a blush and a shadow area under her hair, but we're not really going to change her skin much. So we're at W5 now. So I'm going to finish her little shoulders. I'm filling a little bit more on this top part right here, leaving a little bit of white there. I'm also going to do some on this part right here, leaving just a tad bit to blend out with the next color. And then we're going to go ahead and start doing the shadow area in this part of her dress. So right here where they overlap. We need some there. We need some here. And then we need some over here. I'm also doing underneath the ribbon because I just want it to stand out that it's over the dress. So we'll repeat this, the same areas that we're going to be coloring in the colors, but we're going to use reds. And so we'll do it a little bit faster when we get to the second image so we can work on the card, because the card is going to be different than what I've never done this card before that we're going to do. So I want to make sure I have time and you guys can watch, and you know, so we're going to make sure that we have enough time to get that done where you guys can watch, because I think you'll really like it. It's like a pop-up slider card, so I think it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, moving down to W4. So I'm going to go a little bit more down on this area. So you notice how I'm just stepping down the colors and choosing different areas in the image to color with these, so it looks like they're different. They're really different even though they're all the same color. That's how you do the monochromatic. You stick with the same color. You just do as many shades of that color as you can get in your image so it stands out. I don't know all the technical terms, but I'll be doing some research on that soon, because I'd like to do a little bit more of monochromatic because I think it's really cool looking. I hope you guys like it too. I know not a lot of people think about doing it with their image, or maybe they just don't know how, but it's pretty neat when you do it, I think. So I think I'm going to wait until W3 before I step into here, but I think with W4, we're going to add just a little bit around here for the shadow on her forehead. And then I'm going to do a bit down the side of her face as well. We'll do a little bit under her neck and on this shoulder. And then a little bit on the inside of her arm. I know it's strange and unusual, but I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more in hopes that you can see just a little bit better all the different colors we have going on here. So this is W3, and that's where I'm going to finish blending out this area on her dress. And that turned out really nicely. I like that. And then I'm going to do one clean sweep over this to make sure it gets blended well enough. And then we're going to start filling this in, leaving a little bit for the next color. Just a little bit of highlights on her dress down there in that area. You have to be careful with grays because the lighter you get, the more colorless blender is in there, and it can tend to wash out the color you already put in there. So you have to be real careful with that. When I did the image for Dale's card the other day, I used the C color family. So you got more of cool grays than these warm grays that we're using now. So I'm going to use just a little bit of this to expand from where I put that original color. Just so we can get this shadow in here. We don't want it to look like she's dirty. We just want it to kind of blend out nicely. I know this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it'll give you something different to do. Hey, Cheryl. Oh, that's okay. No problem. We're going to color her again in a color. So right now we're doing a black and white image, and then we're going to do a colored image. Okay, so this is W2. So we're going to extend a little bit more with our W2. And then we're also going to finish off this bottom part of her dress with this W2. Just where those highlights were. And I'm just blending them together so they match up nicely and just kind of roll together really nicely. There we go. I'm also going to do a little bit more on her face, just a tad bit further. Right now she just looks kind of dirty to me. But it'll be okay. A little bit more on the arms and stuff. There we go. You're loving the dark colors? It's fun, isn't it? It just looks so different. I think it's going to look really amazing when we compare the two together. Or at least it does in my head. Okay, W1. This may be the last color that I use. I'm not 100% sure, but it might be. I mean, I might use another color for her skin, but the rest of her probably finish off with this color. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to do a little more with that skin, but that's okay. Going to finish her little gloves. And then I'm going to finish this part of her dress. I also think instead of using the lighter W colors for her dress, I may go over a couple of areas with the colorless blender. So I think I'm going to take the W00 that I started off with for her skin tone, and I'm just going to make sure these colors blend nicely together. Kind of filling in those last spots, making sure I get like a really good blend. And there as well. Okay, so far so good, but I think we need just a, she looks like a Monster High doll. She kind of does. You're right. She kind of does. I think I'm going to go back real quick. I'm going to hold this W0 out because I don't think I'm going to use that either. But I think I'm going to go back to that W4 and re-enhance that shadow color I had up here because I kind of feel like I washed it out. And it's not really showing what I wanted it to show. So I'm just going to go in there, darken that up just a little bit. And then I'm going to skip down to W2 and I'm just going to soften that edge right there. Just soften it up a little bit. I mean, we do want it to look kind of like she has a little bit of blush on her cheeks, even though she's in black and white. So that's why I've put a little bit more on her cheeks, because I want you to really be able to see that. And now just to finish off this top part up here and make sure that I get like a good blend together, I'm going to use the W1. And then I'm going to use the W00 while it's wet real quick right here. But remember, you can't use too much or you'll wash it out because the W00 has really a lot of colorless blender in it. Okay, well, I do like that skin tone. Pretty happy with that. It's a little bit darker on this side, so maybe I'll touch again. I must have washed this out a little bit more. So I'm taking W2 and just filling that in so both sides look the same. It's also a little bit bumpy, so I'm going to try to smooth that out a little bit. Not really sure why it's doing that, but it is giving it a little bit of a funny look. So I'm going to try W1, just filling in those little spots to see if we can get that a little smoother. It looks a lot better in person than what y'all are seeing, but let's do her eyes real quick in this multi-liner, because I think that's going to make like a great big difference. So let me fill in her eyes, because you guys know I like to do that. And since this is black and white, I can definitely use white to highlight. Ooh, that looks really good. And now I think I'm going to do her heart in that same color, that little black multi-liner, so that it stands out a bit. And this little heart right here too. There we go. Ooh, I like her. I think she looks good. Okay, I'm gonna take my, I'm waiting for that to dry a little bit. It doesn't look so splotchy from in person. See, it's much smoother, but it looks on camera splotchy, so I'm not gonna be able to leave it like that. I'm gonna have to work on that. Here's my white gel pen, and I'm just gonna put a little bit like on her lips. And if I don't like it, I'm going to wipe it off. But I kind of like it on there. It's going to give just a little bit of highlight. And then I'm going to do her eyes with my white gel pen, so you can see her just a little bit better. If you put white gel pen and you decide you don't want it, if you use your tweezers, you can just wipe it off. Or you can blend it out. And then it looks a little bit better than it did. So I kind of like it like that. It sort of softened that color. So that worked out really nicely. I'm going to grab my W2 one more time now that the paper is dry, and see if I can fix this just a little bit. I'm going to actually look on camera what y'all can see and see if I can fix it. It's working a little bit. Maybe I have to go a little bit darker, like maybe the W4. Just want to make sure that gets a little bit better. I think that's a little bit better. I'm going to put a little bit up here, and I'm just going to leave it like that as the shadow. All right, so this is our girl. This is our black and white bell. Let's see if I can hold it up so you guys can see it a little better. I'm going to try to focus it in. There you go. I think she might look a little bit better if I put a little bit of eyeshadow on her, even though you can't see it real well. I think maybe W2 might be a good one. I feel like she needs just a little bit more. Oh, nope, it's going to need to be darker. So let's try W3. And then it'll look kind of like she has makeup on, even though you can't really see it. I think I'll make her eyelashes in the black as well, just so she stands out a little bit more. She got her some eyeliner on. I need to do her eyes, so I'm going to use W6 up here, the top part of her eyes. And then I'm going to use W3. It's hard to see my markers on my desk, you guys. Then I'm going to use W3 to finish her eyes, because we don't want to leave them white. They'll look funny. You got to still give them a gray color too. So there we go. Now she has nice eyes. I'm going to grab my colorless blender real quick. And I just want to just run it a little bit over these areas right here, just to give it a little bit of highlight right there in the center. So you can kind of see it as it starts fading. You love it? She's fun? I love it too. And then I'm going to do just a few areas within her hair. And when I do it, I'm going to wipe the pen on the paper. See how it's picking up some of the gray? I just want to give her a little bit of highlight. And I went outside the lines right here, so I'm going to push that back in. So just make sure that you wipe off your pen when you're picking up the black. Otherwise, you're just going to be moving it around and you're not really doing what you thought you were doing. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's leave her like that. We may put some more white gel pen on her, but I think this eye is too light so compared to the other one. So I'm going to go with the W4 and just deepen it up a little bit more. There we go. Lots of eyeshadow. We want her to look super good. So she's going to be having a great time going out. All right, let's compare her to what happens when we color our girl in color. I have a reason. This card is going to make a lot more sense once I get through the colors that I'm doing. So we only used E41 for the base coat on this girl's skin. We're not using 42 or 43 because I don't think we need to. You love her? I know she's so pretty, and you can do this with anything. This is why you can take a class, like a Copic class, and you can just have one set of markers for everything because you just have to keep repeating what you're doing over and over and over again. So you can use any color you want. I'm going to give her regular skin tone, but just a lighter than we normally do. And then I'm going to use reds and pinks to do her outfit. So I'm kind of pulling out right now a bunch of the reds that I want to use. And so as soon as I get them, I'll lay them on the desk. I want them to be in red. So when I do her skin tone, I am going to still stick with the E00 and the E11, but I'm going to use RV95. And that's it. And the E000 we already used. But yeah, just going to use those on hers. So I'm going to go ahead and do her shadow area. And you'll notice this has a little bit of a mauve-ish red tone to it. So it's going to match up with the outfit that we're doing. Since I'm only using 3 colors, I'm going to put a little bit more than I normally do. This is supposed to be her ear over here, although I think I colored it as her hair on the other one, but it doesn't matter. It's totally fine. And since we made her gloves gray over here, we'll probably make them pink over here because we're going to try to stick with the same light and dark areas on the girls. So our E11. Also, I want to give her blush, so I'm going to use R12 since these are all going to be in pink. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there right now. She looks like a crazy person. Okay, E11 is next. This is where I am going to extend on the shadow area. Right here. Under her, over her eyebrows. Under her eyes, kind of over that pink that's on her cheeks, on her shoulders. She looks crazy right now, but I promise she'll come together in a few minutes. And I leave her lips the way they are because I'm going to use I'm going to use red on her lips. Again, I only want to use these 3 colors, so I'm not going to have a whole lot of different variation in her skin, but I want her to remain very light since the other girl is very light as well. So they're both light skin. It's the same person, just a different concept of them on the card. And you'll know what I mean when we get to that part. I promise. You'll get it. Okay, So there we go. That was super easy. And it came together nicely. It's a very good blend of skin tone. It's very nice and subtle and soft and pretty. And these are the colors I have grabbed for now. I don't know if I will add to it. In fact, I think I'm going to add to it right now. But I have R89, R59, R56, R27, R46, R24, and R22. So these are going to be the 7 reds that we're going to build this with. Okay? So let's roll along. Are you guys ready? Are you ready, ready, ready? Okay. So we are going to give her red hair as well, I think. So I'm going to start with the R89 and I'm going to put it in the hearts first because I'm going to have to keep them the dark. I want to keep them the darkest colors because they're black on here. All right, let's just go ahead and put it in her hair. We are going to make her have red hair as well. I know, it's crazy, right? Usually when I build red hair, I put some black in it, but we're not going to do that tonight because we are trying to stick with these same colors, these monochromatic type image. So we don't want to add too many other colors in there. Otherwise, it loses its appeal. So what do you guys think about this idea so far? Because we still have a little ways to go, but isn't it interesting to see things colored so differently? Yes, I'm going to give her dark red eyebrows too. I know, it's crazy. But I hope in the end she turns out nice and you guys really like her. She's a lot of fun to color. Uh-oh. I missed a spot that I just realized. Under her arm right here, this should be her hair. Ooh. You guys, I filled my markers and forgot to pull the cap off the other end and it almost blobbed on my paper. That would have been so bad. That would have been so sad. If I had to start, I would have started over though, for sure. But see, when I'm coloring, I watch the marker tip as well to make sure it's not getting oversaturated. I do that with my Olos too. And I saw it getting a heavy amount of ink on the nib. You like the idea of red hair? I think I need to have just a tad bit on her, up here on her eyebrows like we do with the black. Just a little bit. All right. R56, R59. I think we're going to go with R59 next. Still going to be pretty dark, but it'll be a shade lighter than 89. This is the part that'll take the longest, and then the dress will go faster. Oh, I got quiet for a minute. I was focusing. How was everybody's weekend? Did you guys have a great weekend? Does anybody do anything fun? I know I was at the Crazy Creations retreat. It was so fun. If you live in the Arizona area, you should think about going there next year. It's really, really fun. It's very low maintenance. I mean, low, it's not stressful. You know, they have projects and stuff, but then you get to also work on your own stuff and you get to see more people. So it's exciting. While I'm thinking about it, because I know I'll forget, I'm going to go back in with the W8 and I'm going to color in this spot right here that I missed. Because you should be able to see her hair. It's her hair behind her. Okay.
What's been talking about D&D for?
I asked if they did anything exciting this weekend or if they had anything going on, and she said D&D. You know, Dale just walked in the room. He'd be like, what? What? D&D what? We're at R56 now. I am going to put some of this in her hair, but I really want to put a lighter color, like a pinkish color. So I'm just going to do, well, I don't know, you guys. I kind of liking this color in there. It's kind of pretty, just like that. Maybe I'm just going to finish it off with this color. It ended up being much prettier and much better than I had imagined. So I'm going to stick with that for just her hair color. I really like it. I might have to use this as hair color in the future because I'm liking it. Don't know that I've ever done hair this color before, but I really, really like it. I hope you guys like it too. Okay, now that is some pretty red hair. So that tells me that this color is going to be really good for light. So what we're going to do...
You could do her dress in green and make her Scarlet O'Hara.
No, we're not. We're doing them in all red. So I'm going back with my R59 to add a little bit to her lips because remember her lips were still pretty dark in the photo.
Like a ghost.
She does. I know. She's supposed to. It's a black and white. It's how you would see a black and white photo of somebody. Then I'm going to go in with my R56 and finish her lips. And I think because the 56 is so light, it's going to probably give us that highlight on her lips already that we see on this one that we did with the white gel pen. Okay, I still need a fairly dark color for her dress. So I'm going to go back to my R89. Is that it? None of the rest of you guys did anything? All we had was some D&D fun going on this weekend.
I binge watched Landman.
You binge watched Landman?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yes, it was very good.
So we're doing the same type of pattern that we did on this one with the darkest color. That is why I had to use the dark color again, but I don't want to do it too dark. So there we go. And I think R59 was the one that I started the second color was the one that I started doing a little bit more. Just a little bit. This is pretty cool. I don't do this kind of coloring very often, but it's kind of fun. You guys should try it. You should give it a try. It's really fun. It's more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought, oh, how am I going to stick with one color? You guys know how much I like to switch colors. I saved the other reds because they're going to go real red instead of this auburn kind of deep garnet sort of color for the rest of her dress. So we are going to use R56. And we're going to start doing the bodice. I'm going to skip the shoulders. I don't want to color them in with this color, but we're going to start doing a little bit here so we can get a bit of a shadow going on here like we did with the other one. And then I believe we did here as well. And then maybe a little bit on here to kind of start bringing that together. Maybe we need to finish that part off with this darkest color. It's going to look like her hair, but then so does that. It's just a little bit lighter. All right, not her shoulders yet, but we want to put a little bit in because her gloves are still going to be pink as well. And I think we missed with the darker color. I'm going to go with the R89 for this area right here because it was black on this one. There we go. All right, we're getting there. You guys are quiet. Are you just sitting on the edge of your seat to see what this is going to turn out to be like? I wonder which one's darker, R46 or R27. Let's see. That's 46. And that, 46 is darker. So I'm going to stick with my original thought of starting with 46. I'm going to start filling out this part up here. This is where the color is going to start shifting a little bit to where it's going to make these look different than the hair because it's going to have a brighter red. But that first R56 is going to put some shadow in there for us, so that's going to be a good color. Going to extend on this one in both directions. And even though this is my very favorite marker, I think all I'm going to do on this part is just this shadow here and here. And then on this side, let's see, did I put any? Yeah, I did put a little bit over here. And a little bit over here. Okay. And I think we started filling out a little bit on her sleeves at this point too. Like just the shadow areas. Gotta hold the marker upright so we get a really thin line. Like that. You like it? So far, so good. We're going to keep going. R27 is next. We have 2 more colors. So we got to start finishing off these areas or we're going to have to add in more color. Got to be careful with red. You don't want it to look like she's bleeding all over the place, you know? Got to be careful with red. There we go. Now we're going to start finishing these areas right here. Doing the around the outside right now. Make sure I have enough red on the outside. There we go. And I think I'm going to finish this red part in her hair. And then we're going to switch to R24. And this is going to be quite a bit different, I think. So It's going to blend well, but it has a little bit of a red-orange kind of color to it. So it's going to switch that color up just a little bit. We're going to finish this part off. So far, so good, I think. Making sympathy birthday cards with my dog stamps. Yay! I love to hear that. That is awesome. All right. We're going to do our shadow up here areas with this R24. There we go. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of this above her eyes because, you know, we got to have some eyeshadow on there. Just a little bit. We'll blend out with the next color. Don't worry. Then we have R22 because we gave her eyeshadow over there. She's got to have eyeshadow over here. It's a little bit brighter than I really wanted it. So what I'm going to do is take the colorless blender and soften my areas a little bit. If I feel like I need or I wash out the tan color too much, I'll probably go in with the E000 and blend it with the E000. So that'll soften up anything that I have in there. There we go. Now that's the color I was looking for. Woohoo! All right, with our R22, we're going to finish off her little gloves. And then we're going to finish off this area right here. We may need a little bit of tip to tip if that doesn't blend quite as nicely. Or we could come in, we could actually pull in R21 as well to help us out with this. I think it'll lighten it up a little bit, which will be nice because it'll match with that side. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit. R22. The paper's pretty saturated, so it's going to blend really nicely for us. I like. Do you guys like it? Look at that. I like it. I'm going to use the colorless blender one more time to lighten some highlight like on her sleeves. Just going to go back and forth like just to lighten it up a little bit more since we kind of did that stuff here. I think we did it here and here and here and here and here. Just to lighten it up just a tad. They look awesome. You love them. Now, are you guys excited to see, interested, curious, want to know what we're going to do with these amazing girls? All right. So all we used really, other than a couple of skin tones, was red and black for our two girls. I'm going to move the markers so I can show you the project we're going to make. Now, I said it at the beginning of the video that this is a pop-up slider fun fold card, and I saw it on SueStampfield.com. SueStampfield.com. All right, here are the pieces. I have already cut them. Here's all the pieces I need. Okay, so I said pop-up slider card. So it's going to pop up and it's going to slide back and forth. So it's going to do kind of a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to do is show you the pieces and then we'll talk about the measurements real quick. So this is an A2 card. If I close it, it looks like our regular A2 card, yet instead of opening this way. I made it open top fold, but I'm going to turn it to the side. So it's going to be side fold, but it's going to be the longer version of it. So this measurement is 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And then I just scored it at 5 1/2 so I could make my card. It's pretty easy. And I'll put the measurements up on the screen in a few minutes. First, I'm going to go over the pieces, and then I will put the measurements out there. This piece is our mechanism piece. This is 9 3/4 by 1 1/2. So it's only 1 1/2 inches wide. And then I scored it at 3/4. I started on this side, sorry. 3/4, 5 1/4, 7, 7 1/2, and 9 1/4. And then I took another piece, which is 5 1/4 long, so almost the same length, just 1/4 of an inch smaller than the card. And then I did a 1/2 inch score here and a 4 3/4 here. And then I made 2 flat panels, just flat. They're 5 3/8 long and 1 inch wide, and I made 2 of them. Okay, and then for my border and pattern paper, I cut one that was 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So basically, it's an eighth of an inch smaller than this card base, so I can put it on the front with a teeny tiny little border. It's going to be kind of hard to see on camera because it's black, but see, it's just a little 1/8 inch border, and that's going to go on the front. And then I cut 2 pieces that were 1/8 of an inch smaller than this one. So I did it at 5 1/4 by 4. And then this one is going to mat on top of this one. And the other one is going to go inside the card with the mechanism. And then I did 2 at 5 1/8 and 3/4 of an inch wide. So 2 of these. And basically what that is to mat on top of this. That's it. Okay, so here it goes. If you want these measurements, I'm going to flash them on the screen so you can take a screenshot if you want. But here they are. Cardstock, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. 9 3/4 by 1 1/2, scored at 3/4. 5 1/4, 7, 7 1/2, 9 1/2. And then 5 1/4 by 2, scored at 1/2 inch and 4 3/4, and then 5 3/8 by 1. I need 2 of those, no scoring. And then I said contrasting cardstock because I chose vanilla to go against the black. 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, no score on that. And then these 4 pattern papers. After that, you make your own measurements and decorations and decisions from there on how you want to decorate your card. But this is the basics of how to make the card. So there they are. So what I'm going to do is work on making the mechanism on the inside of the card first. So before I can do that, I have to put this pattern paper down. This paper has to go down first, okay? Because I want it to be behind the mechanism. I don't know how well that's going to turn out, but we're going to try it anyway. So I'm going to use just Barely Art glue to put this pattern paper down. And I think since we're building a mechanism on the inside, we should probably do these 2 pattern papers on the outside as well. Trying to decide which direction I want my roses to go, and I think I've decided it's going to be this direction. And then if you have your soda press, now is the time to use that. Nice. All right, I'm going to flip this over so I can add my stuff to the front of the card. So I'm going to take this contrasting piece that I picked. And we're about to see how well we matched up these colors with our background papers because I have no idea if they're going to match. All right, this is just going to be 1/8 of an inch around the edge. So I have to be a little bit careful, shift it around as needed to see if I made it around the edge, and it looks like I got it pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and press this down. And then I'm going to add this paper. This is our stone paper. And then as soon as I put this down, we're going to work on the mechanism. It's easier than it looks. Do I want it to go this way? I think I want it to go this way. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just looking at which one looks better to my eyeball. And then I'm rolling with that. So there we go. So that's our front and that's our inside. Okay. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to take these two pieces. So this long one that I did, hey Barbara, this long one that I did, I need to score those, and I need to score this one. So this one, both of them are going to turn in almost so you have a little table. So I left my bone folder in the hotel room, so I have to wait for somebody to ship it back to me. So in the meantime, I have to use this other one, which makes me a little sad. This one works, but my bone folder was my favorite. Fit my hand perfectly, and I loved it. Okay, so both of those get folded down like a table. For this one, I'm going to need to fold it. Give me just a second. I have to think about it for a minute. Okay, I think I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to fold this one that's on the end all by itself in both directions, because this is going to be the part that does the movement. So I'm going to fold it this way and this way, just to get me a really good movement going on there. And then the rest, I'm going to fold this one in. So it's almost half, but it's not quite half. And then for this one, I'm going to fold this one up. So I'm folding them all towards the inside. For this one, I'm going to fold that one up. So I'm just doing them one score line at a time. This one as well. So when I finish, they all kind of go in that same like direction. See? All right. So the way this works is, let's go ahead and put some score tape on there, because I want to make sure it holds really, really well, because it's going to be moving back and forth a lot. So I want to make sure it holds really well. So I'm going to be using the score tape and Barely Art glue. I'm going to use them both because I just want to make sure that the mechanism doesn't get tired, start pulling apart. So I need the tape to be here, and then I'm going to lay this down. And I also need to put tape on this small area right here. And then this small area right here. So I'm going to tear your tearing tape, scored tape, whatever you want to call that. So I'm going to put that right here. Okay, so now I have this really interesting looking little mechanism. So it looks like this on the side. Okay. All right. Now I have to use this piece, and these ones that are folded over, I'm going to add score tape to them as well. So I'm going to add them just on these tabs. Like this. Don't forget, you can always watch the replay of this on YouTube. Now, this mechanism right here, the edge of this has to be right before the fold on your card right here. So don't go over the fold, because it won't fold back right. It won't fold back the right way. So you want to make sure you lift this up and it doesn't cause an issue, but you want it to be right there. Now, in order to hold that still, I'm going to use my magnets, just because I'm not ready to glue that down yet. I want to work on this piece first. So on this piece, it's going to go across your little mechanism. So you'll pull this back and you'll lay this down. The edge of this and the edge of this need to be lined up with the card. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this score tape off of this little area right here. This is our first one we're going to stick down. Come on. There we go. I'm also going to put a little bit of glue on there so I have a little bit of movement once I stick it down in case I get it in the wrong spot. We're going to take that piece and we're going to fold it down underneath. And we want that to be in the center of this piece that's going across. So we want it to be right here up close on the edge. So basically it's right on the edge of that paper. Hopefully you can see that. I know it is black paper, so it's hard to see, but maybe that makes it a little easier. I did fold it down, so it's stuck like this. It's underneath. Okay. I'm going to use my press pop just to make sure that hold is really good before I do the next step. I want this to be flat. So I'm going to put my glue there for now. Nope, that's not heavy enough. I'm going to put this one there. And now I'm going to peel these off, and I want to stick these to the card base. So I'm going to peel that off, and then I'm going to flip it under, and I'm going to stick it down. I don't want it to stick off the card, so I just want to be a little bit careful when I put it down. There we go. Put a little bit of glue on there in case you need to move it around. But I'm going to hold this one down here where it's even with the card. I'm going to flip this under, and then I'm going to place it there. And I just want to make sure that stays flush right there. Thank you, Barbara. I found this on YouTube today. Actually, there was a lady in a group that said she wanted to learn how to make this. And I was like, I'm curious. So I went out and searched for somebody that would make it. And then I tried to build it myself and write the instructions down. So it was fun. And I think it's really cool. I don't know that I've made anything that moves like this, that pops up and slides. But I think it's pretty cool. And I thought you guys might like to know how to do it. Because why not, right? How cool is that? So tuck this under and lay it right there. So now both pieces are flush with the card. Just going to make sure we got them pressed down there pretty good. I'm going to hold it for a second because it is the glossy paper and I want to make sure it sticks. And I got a little bit of glue out there. It doesn't matter. It dries clear, but I'm just going to pick it up so you guys don't see all that white while you're watching the video. Okay. My next step is going to be, I'm going to take off these little pieces. Let's hope this works. This is only the second time I've ever done this. I only did one test run while I was trying to learn how to do it. So let's hope I did it right and that it works out. We'll see. We'll know in a minute if it works. So I'm going to lay this flat and then I'm going to fold the card over like that. So the card is flat and then I'm going to press it with my press pop. Just give it a second to really get that hold because I put glue on there. So it needs just a minute. And then when I open this up, it pops up this centerpiece right here. Look. See? When you close it, it lays flat. And when you pop it open, this centerpiece slides up and pops up. It's pretty cool, huh? Whoever this lady that made this, her name was SueStampfield.com. And she's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. But I thought it was really neat. Once you sit it down for a while, it'll stay flat, but you can mail it flat or, you know, whatever you want. So here was my idea. I have a few extra papers that I stamped and cut and did just for my decorating. you don't really need those technically because you can just make it whatever color you want, right? But we're sticking with the black and white-ish on the front. So I'm going to take this paper that I cut to mat onto this paper. It's going to have a little bit on each side of it, but it's flush on the edges. And that's because it's going to fit right over top of the matted piece I have on here. So like this. So we just have another extra little layer here. And I think what I'm going to do, even though this may cause a little bit of extra shipping, I would not pop it up if you're going to ship it, but I'm probably not going to ship it. So I'm going to flip this over and put some pop dots on the back. Just because why not give it a little bit more dimension? How fun is that? I love doing that. So we're going to add a little bit here and just go with it. So I'm going to take these off. The fun fold is epic. I'm so glad you guys like it. And you'll be able to watch the replay several times if you need to. I know I did when I was trying to learn how to do it. But I've got a bunch more fun folds to bring to you guys. So I'm starting to make up some of my own and watch videos and try to... It's going to be fun. You're going to be a one-stop shop. Know how to color. Know how to make fancy folds. It's going to be fun. Okay, are you ready? This is our girl for the front. Oh my goodness. I love her. I almost feel like I want to pop her up too. I don't know. What do you think? Leave her on there just like that? Dale says we should just leave her on there. And then I have a sentiment that I did in black and white, of course, that says believe. And I think I want to put it right there. So that was my idea, was to put the word believe on here in black. It's in black, and it's not really black and white, it's black and vanilla, which is why I ended up putting that E41 on the image when I was coloring, because I needed just a teeny bit of that brownish color to shine through, because I wanted it to stand out for us. So I'm going to stick her on there now. And it says believe. She's so pretty. And then we're going to open it up. And these other pieces that I told you that we wanted to cut out, these two long pieces with the pattern pieces that went on them, we're going to do those now. I added the background piece. I don't know that you really needed to, but I just kind of wanted to see how it looked. When I learned it, when I figured it out from Sue, she didn't put a paper back there, but I just wanted to try it, so I did. You know how I am, just winging it and trying new stuff. So I'm just matting these on there, and then I'm going to show you where they go. You might think they go over here, but they don't. So I kind of want the rose to match up a little bit. See how I cut the paper together? So I'm going to want to put this one on top so that you can see that the rose kind of goes together. So one is going to go here, and this is going to kind of bring more of that roses out and block a little bit of that mechanism. So it's going to look like a huge bundle of roses. I think it's really pretty that way. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. And again, you don't even need to add any of these. These are just accents that just make it look even prettier than it already was. And it kind of hides some of the way that you put it together. So it's kind of up to you on what you want to do. It won't mess with the mechanism to put these on there. It'll still slide and pop the way that you want it to. So don't have to worry about that. I just want to make sure I kind of keep the same amount of distance here. Make sure I kind of keep it sort of flush on the edge because I don't want there to be a bunch of stuff hanging over or looking funny. I really want this to come out nicely. I have someone in mind that I wanted to maybe potentially give it to. So she is going to go here. She is going to be my pop-up mechanism. I'm going to put this, I cut this pattern paper just to keep the red going. So I'm going to put that on this side over here. Just like this. I love this paper. This paper really worked out nicely for this. Oops, I got a little piece of glue on there. So I wanted to put this, beauty is found within, at the bottom of this card because she's black and white on the front, and now I want you to know that beauty is found within, not the outside of what you look like, but what you have on the inside. So I definitely wanted to add that as a beautiful little picture. But then I also wanted it to be a card for a specific reason. But when you stand up the card, when you get it and you stand it up, you'll be able to see this part of it that says beauty is within. I'm going to take this off. You could put anything here. You could put a square, you could put a circle, you could put anything you want. I just think it's really awesome. And now that I've seen how this works, I'll be making all kinds of stuff like this. And then you just kind of center your piece on there. So you could put your sentiment here, or you could put it anywhere that you want, or you could turn it and you could do it this way instead of this way. It's up to you which way you want it to be. But instead of putting the sentiment, I thought it would be really cool to put the girl there. Just make sure if you make a big sentiment that when you close it, it doesn't hang outside the card. But other than that, you're great. And then I stamped and cut out Have a Magical Celebration. And I'm going to put that on this side. Like right here. And then I thought I would put happy birthday down here. So you kind of get all of the stuff. And just know when you do pattern paper on this side, you can't go past that. This has to move. So you can't do anything past right here. Okay? So just keep that in mind when you're doing it. Because it's going to move. So I'm going to put this right down here. And this was from the sentiment set, the Happy Birthday sentiment set. And the rest is from the Enchanting Tale set. So now she's stuck on there, see? So when you close it up, it says Believe. I get the black and white color beauty on the inside. Yes, exactly. So Believe. Beauty is found within. You love this card? Look how it came out so good. I only built it one other time and I didn't even finish it. I literally did this. This is all I did. This was my test run, and as you can tell, I ripped it a few times because I didn't have the pieces on right, and here's me covering up where I ripped it off here. So it took me a little while to get it, but this is all I built. So I wasn't sure once we put all this stuff on how it was going to turn out. But in the end, it ended up being perfect. But you know I have to put bling on there because I just can't not put bling on there. So my biggest problem is that when I got home with all my gems, I opened up the container upside down and I spilled all of my gems all over the table. So I need some gems. Oops. But I'm going to have to like take them off this paper because I have to sort them all after the live. But it happens. I just flipped it the wrong way. It was my fault. I think I have this little heart, which I think is really cool. And maybe I'll put that on the inside. But I have these white, pearl white beads. What do you call them, Dale? Resin dots that Dale makes. I thought I would put them on right over here. No, I want a bigger one. Oh, this is such a mess over here. I made a mess. I thought I would put 3 of them down here. It's kind of what I had in mind. So I wanted to put 3 of them here so that it still looks really elegant-ish. So let me put the glue on here. And then I'll just pick them up and put them on there, hopefully. You guys know I always try it with my tweezers. I don't know why I don't just get this tool out. Well, I'm going to need more glue under there. Hey. Okay, now get off of my thing. I'm going to put more glue for these dots. Pick them up. Put them on there. I like it when the glue squishes out because it makes me feel like it's got a better hold. And you can't see it once it dries anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you see it or not. But I'm going to go ahead and open it up and lay it down so those can dry. And then maybe I will just put this little heart. I think I'll put this little heart up here at the top. But hold on, let me make sure nothing, because I don't want to put it down here because it'll bump into the mechanism, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to put it up here. This little heart that I just put upside down. Don't worry, it's clear, but the Barely Art glue dries clear and you can't see the white on it, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, stop wiggling. Time to stop wiggling. I have you where I want you. Gonna press it down. Aw, thanks. You said I always amaze you. You love it. You love the card. Awesome card. Yay. I'm so glad you guys like it. All right. So now we have our card and we have bling. And this is the girl in the monochromatic. And see, it dried and it looks just fine up there. So it looks really good now. I don't have to worry about that at all. So she's in like the W colors. And then you open it up and she's in the red colors that match the background. Beauty is found within. I hope you guys loved that. I can flash you these are the dimensions again if you want to see them, if you want to take a snap of them really quick. Otherwise, you can just watch the YouTube. Just make sure that you like and subscribe so that we can get more people following. And you can just watch the replay as much as you want. And then remember, I will be back on Thursday, and I think I'm going to have a different fold card for Thursday. So, super excited. I hope you guys loved it. And I really appreciate you watching. Take care, and I will talk to you on Thursday. Good night.